Ay, 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 ay.
Hello everyone, it's that time again for another edition of Two Heroes Beat Fallout 76 No Death and How They Did It, Episode 4.
Come on, sex machine!
Today, we are covering what you should be doing for levels 40 to 60, which kind of branches off into 3 different paths. More on that later. We'll also be discussing taking on your first few bosses and, of course, the new addition of 5 things to watch out for, my cap creation method, and a little surprise thrown in too.
If my memory serves me well, which of course it does, we finished the last episode in the Toxic Valley around level 40 in either T45, 51 or 60 power armour. Now these next 20 levels could be considered the blank or empty levels of a person's playthrough, specifically on a no-death run. You don't know what to do or where to go, and if you do, you're worried you might not be ready yet. We know because we had the same problem on this challenge run. Feeling so free but yet stuck at the same time.
Bruh.
The ability to do whatever we wanted but without the knowledge to know what we needed.
So, we decided to make some potential options. 3 paths we could go down, and eventually we would go down each one. But what road to take first was the question we had to face.
The first option is to quite literally take a break, to get away from the main quest and explore the massive world of Fallout 76. Specifically exploring the Savage Divide, as if you've been following our guides, you probably haven't dipped into there much and have been dying to see what this massive region has to offer.
Stop acting like you know the way ahead, like you know the rules. There are no rules, man. We're lost.
No.
So by all means explore it, see what it does offer, get some key fast travel locations for later like Fort Atlas, Foundation, Top of the World, etc. Have some fun with your teammate and enjoy these next few levels almost as if a break. Celebrate how far you've made it and begin to plan out what to do next.
The second option is to build a base. We postponed it a bit in our last few episodes, but now is the time. You probably won't have the plans to make anything insane, but you should have the resources to build something decent. This is a picture of our first base. Absolutely massive on the outside, but the inside is pretty empty. We built it here, between Arctos Pharma and Helvetia, and this is for a couple of reasons. The main one is that it's fairly flat, which everybody knows is the number one frustration when it comes to building in Fallout 76, unless you build on the golf course like some cretin. It was also very easy to defend, and we built it with quite cheap resources as well. The base was personal to us. We referred to this place in episode 2 as Todd Howard's base, because it's unbelievably difficult considering it's in the forest region, and he can churn out robots for his war effort against us at unbelievable speeds. We died there last time, and the name just kind of stuck. Setting up camp here was almost a reminder of our past failures, showing that we were adapting, improving, and keeping a close eye on what he was doing and about to do next.
And this is the kind of idea that we encourage you guys to take when choosing a spot for your base as well. We're not saying to copy our exact spot, far from it. We also don't mean for you to go with a location you would see in top 10 base locations in Fallout 76 videos, even though some of them are too good to pass up. What we mean is to pick a spot that reflects your playthroughs, maybe a spot you died in last, or a place you and your teammate had a lot of fun in, and if you have trouble finding a spot this way, there's no shame in just finding a spot you like the look of. Just throw up some walls, workbenches, defences, and call it a base.
But speaking of the perfect spot, we actually have a new installment to the boardroom, the photo album.
That's right. Every episode from now on, we're going to add a couple of pictures to it containing spots you guys should consider visiting. Why? Because we understand that Fallout 76 can be a bit of a grindy game, and sometimes in the heat of this challenge run, we forget that these games were designed to be fun and engaging for you and your friends. Think of these spots like tourist destinations. If you've got the time to see some of them, then why not give them a try? But we can't guarantee all the locations to be fun just because you went there. Again, this is quite a personal thing, because the fond memories you're going to have of this game are sometimes down to the most random chance encounters. These are places that we had a lot of fun with and could see you guys enjoying these places too. So what are the spots today, Euan?
Well, this first photo here is taken at the Cow Spots Creamery. It's located here, right beside the massive New River Gorge Bridge, in the forest zone, not too far from Flatwoods. As you can imagine, this place has a great supply of cream.
What do you mean by that?
Which is very effective at topping up your thirst meter.
What do you mean by that?
It's also a very aesthetic and great place to get a photo with your teammate.
What do you mean by that?
Running over the bridge in its various levels before getting there is both fun and terrifying at the same time. And although this place holds no real quests, making it easily forgotten, we always make sure to come back here on each run because we have some good memories of it, and I'm sure you guys will too, if you decide to give it a visit.
The second spot, which you can see by this photo here, is taken at Point Pleasant. This is located here on the very left hand side of the map. And why did we include this location? Well, same as the last location. It's not really a big place for quests, despite it being so large, so it's easily missed in many people's playthroughs. You may have looked up videos in the past for how to make caps and noticed the fairly dated scheme of gathering Mothman eggs from here and turning them into omelettes for some quick and easy caps. Euan could have included this as his top tip for making caps to date, but decided we had a more unique and interesting method. More on that later. Because of all the Mothman decor scattered about this place, it's very aesthetic as well, and makes for great pictures. It can also be fairly difficult at the beginning of the game, so makes for an intense and exciting battle through this crazy town filled with cultists. Me and Euan have been here countless times, and each time we go, we always enjoy it. I'm sure you guys will as well.
And then we have the third option.
Stop right there!
What the fuck? Not now, Roots.
Pull up the whiteboard, Euan. We'll do the 5 things to watch out for before we even get into that monstrosity.
Certainly. There we are. So, tell us, Connor, what is the first thing to watch out for?
Well, the first thing to watch out for today, and it's a bit of a different one, is game crashes. Fallout 76 is not a perfect game, and if you've played any more than a few hours of this game, you'll know what we mean. Yes, it doesn't matter what console you've got, what specs your PC's graphics are, or how fast your internet is. Bugs, lag, and game crashes will happen to you. And you can sit and argue with yourself all you want about this and that your devices are different, or criticise us for this opinion because we play on Xbox. But the bottom line is that sometimes it's just something you can't avoid. But what makes it so deadly? Well, as you can imagine, when your game crashes, you lose all control of your character and normally can't see anything moving on your screen. It's a problem because you don't know what's attacking you, if anything, and you can't fight back, which makes playing the game without dying a single time very difficult. If this does happen to you, which you've played the game long enough, it will, shut the game down instantly, and if you're really paranoid, turn off your console. Eliminate all the risk. Now, if you're playing with your teammate and you're doing this run, which you'll most likely be, we can give you a rough idea of what state your character is in. If you're being attacked, we can do all we can to protect you and keep you alive. This is where the golden perk, Team Medic, comes into play. It's vital that everyone doing this run should have this perk by this point in the game. It doesn't have to be fully maxed, but the more the better. If you both have this, it means your teammate can keep your health topped up while either character leaves the world or reconnects. It's also just an incredible perk for fights in general, as sometimes you or your teammate may not keep an eye on your health and get saved by each other using this.
Coming in at number 2, and it's something quite similar to this last one, it's your controller dying. Now, if you're playing on PC, this most likely won't apply to you, so feel free to skip to the next one. We should have them all timestamped below. But for all you console players that stayed for this one, you most definitely have experienced this pain before. You're playing a game, maybe just about to get a kill, or you're running away or towards something, and all of a sudden you lose control of your character before a wee message on screen pops up telling you to change battery. Now, most likely in this scenario, if your character is in severe danger, they'll die. It's very uncommon for someone to reconnect their controller in time before they die in this scenario, but you can see the frustration this brings when trying to beat Fallout 76, this giant game, without dying a single time. One slip up here and you have one of the most unfair deaths imaginable. And although you get a slight warning normally that your controller's literally about to fuck you over, it normally happens about 5 seconds after. So, in terms of options with that amount of time, especially if you're in combat, which you most likely will be, it's not looking too good. What's our advice to negate this problem though? As soon as you get a pop-up saying your controller batteries are low, get out of combat as soon as possible. This sometimes means calling it quits, retreating the fight, dropping out and not coming back at all. Then change the batteries as fast as possible. The more you do this, the better you become. We've seen the progress ourselves and we can now get it done flawlessly, so it's just something that comes with practice. And bear in mind, if you're planning on playing this challenge co-op, which we advise highly, your teammate can keep an eye on you while you recover. The perk Team Medic is also essential in these kinds of scenarios too. And make sure to keep batteries or a new controller at arm's reach at all times if you can. As a side note though, if you are playing with a controller and have the burden of constantly having to change batteries, just get a charging dock. You can get one for less than £20 and will never have to buy batteries again. It also just makes changing controllers a hell of a lot faster and saves you the hassle of having to trudge down to the shops and restock on batteries. It just makes economic sense.
It's not a strategy that everyone has to go for.
Well, of course you'd say that. Fools use batteries like Connor. Wise guys like myself use rechargeable batteries.
That's a complete lie. Games have always been played with controllers and batteries. That's not going to change.
Until you realise how much you're throwing away on batteries.
Well, I'm paying a higher price for something that's not going to burn out in 3 hours.
No, you're right, Connor. Your batteries will burn out in 4 instead.
Or you...
Anyway, we're getting off topic, but to give you an example of a time we ran out of batteries, and it nearly cost us our run, was a few attempts ago, taking place at the Grafton Dam. You were at the dam and I was just a bit further behind at the prison. I don't remember quite what I asked you, maybe I just said something that you could have replied to or should have replied to. Silence. Then, I saw your health drop a bit and thought it was a bit weird, so I asked if you needed any backup at the dam. Silence again. Then I knew something was wrong, so I sprinted to the dam and spammed a few stim packs to top up your health, holding off the mutants until you reconnected and were back in the game.
Team Medic saving us again.
Mate, that perk is unreal.
Now, despite this not being my proudest moment in Fallout 76, at least it's a good example of why you guys need some close teamwork in this challenge.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
It's just life insurance at this point. Why put yourself in a risky situation without your teammate to help you if you need it? It's just dumb. So dumb. Playing without your teammate online is also extremely risky too. I mean, you don't want to be that guy that has to tell your soon-to-be angry teammate that you lost them the run, which could be days, weeks, or even months of progress lost because you decided to hop on and farm a dangerous place.
We fucked up.
Although I'm sure Euan has a different opinion on this.
Well, I think if you're good enough, you can do it. But you do bear the weight and burden of the possibility of ending you and your friend's run. So, if you do decide to play solo every now and then, say if your teammate's having their dinner or something, do it with the most care you've ever had in the run. This is almost a mark of respect to your teammate because if you don't take care and do in fact end up dying, it just shows that you don't care enough, both about the run and your friend's time.
Now it's time for number 3, bloaters. Now at first this may not seem like the type of hardened, scary, all-powerful creature to watch out for, like the Mr. Handy, but let's break it down a little bit. They always come in 3, they're unusually common, each one has a different elemental power that is a nightmare to defend against, they're quite fast, highly damaging, and surprisingly tanky. The poisonous one will kill you over time, and the fire and ice one will kill you extremely fast, particularly if you let them get close. Our advice for those is very standard. Keep your distance, take them out one by one, and keep an eye on your health bar. We don't advise trying to defend against the elemental strengths, because defense guards, armor, and legendary modifications are very scarce and difficult to obtain in abundance even in the late game.
If you really snow, start me listening.
Plus, defending against all 3 types exceptionally well is pretty much impossible, so don't worry too much about it and just tank through whatever they throw at you.
Number 4, and we've got another enemy this time. It's Scorch Beasts. Well, they're more of a mini-boss, but anyway. What made them make the list though? Common sense, really. What made a giant, flying, screeching beast make the list? Well, first of all, its ability to fly. It's very fast and difficult to escape from. It has the ability to summon Scorch to distract and attack you whilst fighting this thing. It also has a ranged sonic energy type attack and gas attack, both of which can go through walls. But the biggest reason why we put it in the top 5 today is because how long the fight is for some builds and how difficult it is for some to kill it. Let's say you're a melee build or better yet a shotgun build like I was in the early and mid game. This fight is going to drag on and drag on, because for 80% of the fight this creature is in the air. If you're in power armor, which you should be at all times if attempting this challenge, the creature does next to no damage, so no worries on that front. But the fight will be so long and so boring you could fall asleep. And that is what's so deadly about it. Just get your teammate to kill it, or switch to a build that can take it from range before you actually do fall asleep.
True. Coming in at number 5, and we're keeping it classic here, ending off with an area. It's located here, quite close to the Red Rocket Megastop in Vault 79. But what is it? Well, it's the Bailey family cabin. And I know what you're thinking. What makes a run-down house and a broken greenhouse so deadly? Well, it's not what's inside the structures, but what's around them. This place is a common location for scorched beasts, mothmen. Right beside it, there's a literal pit with scorched beasts in it. This place is dangerous. What's your advice for it, Bill? Well, you don't really need to go there much, but if you do, again, pretty standard advice, but just be cautious when you do go there. Make sure to be prepared just in case there's a few bosses lurking about. And that concludes today's top 5 things to watch out for in Fallout 76. Now, tell us what's next, Euan.
Well, I think it's that dreaded time. We can't put it off any longer.
Oh boy.
This is the worst! I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it. You shut up! I'm so fucking scared right now, you shut up!
It has to be done.
Of course, we're talking about Rose's quest. Well, take it away, Euan. Tell us about Rose's great quest.
Rosie's quest, or quests, is a section of the main quest you should definitely do in order to beat the main quest. It's a follow-up from completing the Fire Breather's quest. Oh, Jesus, how many times did I say the word quest? In the Charleston Fire Department. And can be initiated by talking to Rose, this creepy-looking Miss Nanny robot here, at the top of the world. She's annoying, weak, and embarrassingly confident, that sends you on 6 different long quests, each one containing multiple steps that you have to either be making something, throwing something, stealing something, looting something, killing something, so on and so on. You get the idea. This absolute yapper is an unkillable robot, without the ability to fight, but constantly threatens the player violently as if she could. Waffler. It isn't that the quests are very hard, despite there being so many, but it is so unbearably long and boring. Fetch quest after fetch quest, and in all kinds of locations too. There's no real advice we can give here for these quests except to just plough through them with some iron endurance. Although, fast travel as much as you can to save yourself some time, otherwise you'll make yourself insane and are the master of being stingy.
Like me! Although, without the amount of fast travelling you'll be doing with these quests, you'll be quite light on caps. And if you listen to Euan's cap creation tip for today, you might just be able to keep your funds stable and even make some extra profit on such an easy side hustle. So tell us, Euan, what is the cap creation method for today?
Well, today's cap creation method capitalizes off the back of online world events such as Uranium Fever, Moonshine Jamboree, and Eviction Notice. We'd probably recommend tackling these events at around level 60 and above, as they can be quite dangerous, and strong power armor is a must-have if you want to survive these safely. It's quite a simple way to make caps, and it's been talked about a lot by other players' videos, but it's such an effective method we just felt we had to include it in one of our videos. So, once the event is complete, whichever one you decide to do, kill all the remaining enemies and loot every corpse you can. Easiest way to do this is by pressing the loot all option on a corpse, and then go to another corpse and repeat the process, maybe 2 or 3 times. But why do we do this multiple times, I hear you cry? Does the loot all corpses button really not loot all corpses?
Yes, but actually no.
It does loot everything it can, but it has a certain radius restriction to what it can take from corpses. Looting off another corpse in a further away spot gives you a brand new kind of advanced radius, bigger border, and repeating the process just make sure you grab absolutely everything in the area. So, once you've done all that, make your way to the nearest station any way you can. This is the only con of the method, because your character is trying to make away with literal army of super mutants, mole miners, or swamp creatures' weapons, meat, and trinkets. Obviously, they'll be weighed down massively. Like, seriously, we're talking about 500 pounds added to your character, That's like strapping a piano on their back and telling them to walk 20 miles to the nearest train station. Some people are just able to pull it off with this crippling weight limit, but for the average player, dear lord, no chance of fast travelling. So, you have to make the choice. Face walking and the chance of encountering a tough enemy in which your only choice is to fight it because your legs will give way if you even try to run. Or, don't risk it, watch the pool of potential caps slide through your fingers. But, from my experience, I've been caught out a few times, but it's never been extreme enough to kill me. And even though I'm an absolute unkillable god at these games, and all the enemies tremble, getting out of the way when they see me coming, you guys should be just as safe as I am.
And how effective is this method, Euan?
Oof, mate. This method is insane. Doing just one of these will probably last you about 3 days with the cap limit, if you do it properly, like cook everything and sell everything.
Safe to say all the travelling about will be made easier with this, and on the topic of travelling about, why not throw the Calvin Van Loo quest in the mix as well? If you haven't already, you'll need to read one of the posters titled "A Sheepsquatch Ate My Brother." You can find it in most stations, but the easiest one is probably the station in Lewisburg, as this is where a majority of the quest takes place. But there's a couple of places for this quest that take place in the Savage Divide, such as Uncanny Caverns or a small stream near Site Alpha, so we highly recommend throwing this quest in the mix to just get out the way. But under no circumstances should you complete the quest right now, never at this stage in the game. You're too weak and will get absolutely folded. That's not a challenge to you or your teammates' ability, that's solid advice from our own experience. That fight was the only time Euan ever got downed on the run that we lived. It was the only thing strong enough to get better of him, so come back when you're stronger. Would honestly recommend about level 100 is a good marker for fighting it, and don't hold back either. Bring everything you have, as it is probably the most dangerous thing in the game.
Anyway, just keep grinding away with all the Rose quests and Van Loo quests, up until you need to fight the boss. All this should take you to about level 60, there or thereabouts. Oh, hold on, Connor. Let's see what our scouts have discovered. Hello? Alright. Responders. The pit. Well, we're not doing that now. We'll do that in the next episode.
And that's a wrap. Lots of stuff covered today, brand new feature to the boardroom, and another 20 levels talked about. Oh wait, hold on, perks. We haven't covered perks.
Oh yeah, good shout. Well, perks for these levels are obviously specific in some cases to your build, and it's quite a boring answer, although we'd recommend getting the master rank perk card of whatever build you're running. Some broad ones that we always recommend to every build for the no death run on Fallout 76 are Life Giver, Strange in Numbers, Power User, Class Freak, and Mysterious Savior.
If you guys have decided to give this challenge run a try and have made it this far, then you should be really happy with yourselves and your ability. Only about 5% of all players have made it to this stage in the game without dying, and about 4% are like this. But we're not like that, and I'm sure you're not either.
We certainly aren't. So, take it away, Connor. Deal the final blow of the episode, wrap it up, and tell us what we'll be covering in the next episode.
Sure thing. In the next episode, we'll be covering levels 60 to 80, dealing with the pit, mutations, and attempting to explore the mire, as well as the usual cap creation method, 5 things to watch out for, and adding a few more pictures to the photo album too. But for now, keep surviving, keep thriving, stay safe while driving. This has been No Death Veterans signing off.
See if I sound like I'm underwater, okay?
Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help me. Here too much raining.